The Boston Bruins have made another set of roster moves with the signing of Jeremy Swayman. They have placed Brandon Bussi and recently claimed Jiri Patera, both on waivers, in an attempt to get them down to Providence in the AHL. I'm going to be talking about these very interesting moves, which happened in a very quick change of time. We're going to be talking about everything and what the result of this will be for the future of this Boston Bruins team. Before we get into it, however, we know that 70% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. If you're looking for a spot to get all of your Boston Bruins news, you're in the right spot. Hit the sub button, join us here on the channel as we cover everything Boston Bruins related. But let's get into our topic here, the main one of this video, which is the Bruins have made some pretty big roster moves. And today they've kind of made their final group of cuts in their NHL roster, sending a lot of people on waivers, including two of the most notable ones that we've been speculating could be going as a 2A, 2B goaltending tandem of Jiri Patera and Brandon Bussi. Here's what we have, the first screenshot here from Scott McLaughlin. The Bruins have placed both Brandon Bussi and Jiri Patera on waivers after signing Jeremy Swayman. And now, I think this was expected. I kind of figured the Bruins, and I kind of thought that we knew the Bruins wouldn't be going with three goalies, especially with Jeremy Swayman being one of them. With Joonas Korpisalo, you have a bit of leeway there, but with Jeremy Swayman now signed, ready to go sooner rather than later, maybe not playing the first two games, he will be ready to go, and there will be no need for three goalies. But we've known Brandon Bussi had the chance of cracking the NHL roster last season, and Jiri Patera, another NHL experienced goalie coming from the Vancouver Canucks, who in all likelihood will be going back to the Vancouver Canucks or elsewhere on the waiver wire. And for those who are going to be looking for a goalie, they have two very good options here. Now, when we're going on to our next screenshot, they also have Patrick Brown, Jeff Veal, and Billy Sweezy on waivers. Now, they're not going to be focusing too much on this video of these guys. Kind of figured most of them would be heading down to the AHL regardless. And they don't have too much of an impact as the two goaltenders will. Now, I'll move on to our next one here with the group of players that are already on waivers today. I believe it's 59 players. So if the Bruins do get any bit lucky, we will see we'll see these two down in the AHL Providence. Hopefully, with the amount of names there, the big group of pick from, many other teams will try and go elsewhere in the goaltending side of things, and hopefully that will be the case. I would really still like to see Brandon Bussi on this team, although 26 still has a lot of potential left in his game. A lot of people are saying Brandon Bussi, 26 years old, still has more development to do. There's really no point in keeping him, but from what we've seen in recent games, from what we've seen from him over this preseason and in his time last season in the AHL and preseason last year, there still is a lot of potential that is growing and growing and growing. And this is what we had Jim Montgomery say about his game yesterday against the Washington Capitals. I thought Brandon Bussi was the only reason it was a close game. Every outing he got better. And I don't know if I would say that necessarily every outing he did get better, but it still wasn't the best of preseasons for Brandon Bussi, but there was still many, many shades of him being that elite goaltender that we know, and we all know that he certainly could be when put in the right system, when developed and everything right now. And obviously, I think that the Boston Bruins are the right system for this right now. Goalie coach Bob Essensa is the perfect guy to be able to kind of guide him into a NHL-ready scenario and eventually make that there. And now that's not going to be anytime soon, of course, but having Bob Essensa kind of in your back pocket is definitely something that Brandon Bussi, I'm sure, really likes right now and will hope to continue with over the coming season, I guess we could say. But let's move on to our next screenshot here, which is obviously the two goalies. And you see that third spot down there? They could run with three goalies, but as I mentioned a few minutes ago, they're not going to do that now that Jeremy Swayman is officially on the roster. I think that was the biggest point of contention, that if not, they would be running with three goalies, would depend on the contract situation for Jeremy Swayman. Now, Joonas Korpisalo, I've also seen many people saying that it's time to trade him, but I don't think that's necessarily the case right now, especially starting off this season where Swayman was skating with, I believe, Boston University with the Terriers and kind of staying warm and everything, which is good. You know, there's been on the skates, he's been on the ice, which is the main thing. He's not cold, but he still hasn't seen that game action yet since he wasn't with the Bruins. But having Joonas Korpisalo here, especially, I would say up until about Christmas, up until about December on our schedule, will be a crucial thing to have him who's been around camp, who's been around the team, who's been around the players, who has been in the games in preseason, just available to play when needed. That's a big thing. I think that's why that the Joonas Korpisalo was not moved. And obviously, they acquired him in the deal for Linus Ullmark, and I don't think they wanted to move on from him too quick, because I would really like to see him with goalie coach Bob Esposito as well. I think that he could turn into the elite goalie that we've seen in LA. And I know I've mentioned LA and Joonas Korpisalo in the same sentence a lot. If you go and look at his stats with the LA Kings, he was a fantastic goalie. I know it was only 10 games or so, but I still believe that we can see that Joonas Korpisalo back with the Boston Bruins. And I'm going to pull up another screenshot here now that we have, once again, I believe, from Scott McLaughlin, discussing what many people have thought about this whole situation. Someone put a tweet out in response to Scott McLaughlin, and said, Bussi will come back and haunt the Bruins. Should have found a way to keep him. Now, first of all, as you'll see here with Scott McLaughlin, he's saying, this doesn't necessarily mean that he's gone already. Means he's going down the AHL and has to clear waivers, and if he does, we'll still be with the Bruins. But a lot of people are instantly thinking that he will be claimed, and here's a good point of why we don't necessarily need to think that all right away. Seeing more of this than I expected, and I gotta say, I don't really get him. First, let me see if anyone even claims him. Second, I like Bussi well enough, but I think that we saw in this preseason, he still has a lot to work on. Third, he's 26, not 21. Fourth, the Bruins have Swayman. So a lot of good points there kind of discussing that. The Bruins necessarily don't need Brandon Bussi, although he still has a lot of potential. He's 26, still going to be in the AHL for at least guaranteed this season. And, then he'll be 27, and then the chart goes on, and you're going to be kind of in this loop of getting there. I know that he can be a backup next season for Jeremy Swayman, but still, you never know what the goalie situation, the goalie market, your draft, Mikey DiPietro, Jiri Patera, anybody is looking like at that point. So there are many different opportunities where you can see that there can be other workarounds for this, and Brandon Bussi does not necessarily need to be the NHL backup. And speaking of Mikey DiPietro, someone I haven't spoken about here in this video, or even too much as of late, last year as well, he had a very good season in the AHL. And now having Casimir Coscusio in the AHL as well, having Jiri Patera in the AHL, having Brandon Bussi in the AHL, having him in the AHL. There's such a crowd of goalies that are going to be in the AHL on this roster that are going to be quite a challenge to be able to keep all of them there. Ryan Bichelle as well, another one. We're gonna have some very big goaltending competitions, kind of on the inside of things that we're gonna have to keep an eye on. And I'd say that the Bruins, if both clear, will end up making a trade involving at least one of these goalies. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because although this is not the NHL right now, we have our NHL goalies locked in, Joonas Korpisalo and newly signed Jeremy Swayman. We have a big group of goalies that are talented, a lot of potential in the AHL, and I don't really think there's enough room for them all there right now. So let me know what you think about the goaltending situation happening in the AHL. Do you think both of these guys will clear? Think they're both going to be claimed? Let me know what you think, but that's all I got in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button. A lot of Jeremy Swayman news will be coming out soon, especially with him signing today. We're going to have a lot more tomorrow, another video tomorrow morning. Make sure to stay tuned for that and hit the sub button if you don't want to miss it. But I'm signing out. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.